Everyone who buys a house between basically December 1st and February 28th, you're going to look at those people the same way you looked at people who bought houses at the beginning of COVID. You're going to look back and be like, damn it. Why wasn't I that smart? Why was I so scared? What was I thinking again? You're going to look back with tons of regret, because I believe anybody who buys a house right now is going to get the best deal you're going to see in years. There's no competition. And the second that these rates drop, you're going to see millions of buyers jump onto the market, and housing prices will never be the same.
Whoa, 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 wait a minute. House prices will plummet in 300 U.S. housing market study finds? Wow, who's saying that? Oh, Zillow. Yeah, Zillow's finally telling the truth that I've been saying for years. Yeah, there's no buyers in the marketplace. There's no buyers. Now, if you're rich, you may have a few buyers, but yeah, for the typical home buyer, no one's buying your house. Yeah, and as a matter of fact, the reason is simple. Your prices are going down. Yeah, in many, 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 many markets, not all, but in a lot of markets, your house prices are going down, especially in the South. If you're thinking about buying a house in the South, you're out of your mind. You're about to buy a house that's going to go down in value this year, next year, the year after that. So good luck. Buyers are pulling the plug, and if you have a house for sale, good luck. There simply are no buyers interested in the prices you're trying to sell at.
Atlanta was one of the hottest housing markets in America. Prices were rising before the pandemic, exploded during it, and now they're falling. Some areas are down 6, 8, even 15% just in the last year. And for certain neighborhoods, this is year 3 of declines. So the big question is now a buying opportunity or a warning sign? Look at this. Inventory across the Atlanta metro has surged and is approaching its highest level in a decade. Now, to move these homes, sellers have needed to cut prices, like this one on Hill Street. They bought it near the peak in 2022 for $550,000. Now, they tried renting it but couldn't, and then kept dropping the asking rent. Listed it for $600,000, no buyers, price cut after price cut, and it's sitting at $475,000, and it's still for sale.
Do you think that now is a good time to buy a house?
Yes, if you're financially ready. Now, I still think, I believe in the economy, and the U.S. housing market will continue to go up over time. I don't think houses are going to be significantly cheaper in any point in the future, and history has proven that. I don't think there's going to be another 2008, fingers crossed, because we've solved a lot of the problems that caused that. But I think when you...
So if anybody asks you if this is 2008, I know people have this question. I get it sometimes. Are we living in a 2008 type of, is market crash? Like, is the market crashing? My answer to you is no, the market isn't crashing. I'm going to tell you the market won't crash, and we won't see crashes. We'll see foreclosures, but we won't see crashes. And the reason why won't see crashes, the previous 2008 crash had a lot to do with mortgage rates, interest rates being not fixed but variable, being able to fluctuate. All those things, when you put somebody into a variable interest rate and it's based upon the index at that time, and you'll have months where it's high, you'll have months where it changes, and then it's low. But during that time and season, nobody thought, damn, I shouldn't do a flexible interest rate right about now, especially when we're having challenges in the market. But they did that. So the mortgage portion, mortgage-backed securities, you guys heard that terminology before, okay, led to the downfall in 2008 of the market. We're talking about the subprime market. Now, there is no there is still a type of a subprime market, not like it was before. You still have subprime lenders that are out there, but even them, they have caps on what they can do too, because the best loans out there, FHA loans, they still have certain cutoff points that you have to meet in order to benchmarks that you have to meet in order to get those loans. So we're not dealing with a subprime market. But what we are dealing with, and this, I think this is very weird, is a stagnant market where people are holding on to houses longer And you get why, because we just came from a low interest rate period. The reason Trump is trying to get these rates down, and they're pushing like pile out to get these rates down. I want you to understand this, because I tell people this is how you have to understand this thing. And you don't have to have the perfect and best understanding. You have to have a good foundation to begin to build off of it, because Trump is pushing him out because Trump wants the rates lower. Trump knows as long as you got lower rates, right, and that people have homes on 3%. I saw people with 2.5% rates. Hell no, I will not sell my house if it's a 2.5%. Oh, no. I don't care if I'm going to a 3.5 or even a 4. It's just too golden. It's too Gucci, bro. It's just too Gucci. So you got people with these low rates, they not selling. And one of the messages in this program, I keep telling people, when we talk about this value in real estate, I really want you to understand that if they're not selling, to all my investors out there, hint, hint, that's one reason why we have a low inventory. And hint, hint, you seeking, finding, providing rentals, providing the right type of fix and flip numbers will be the things that mom and pops can do to make money in this market and to help push their local market forward. Because it's only going to be them, and it's going to be the builders. And the builders are going to build and charge what they feel they need to charge and build. I'm out in Powder Springs, and crazy talk, I'm seeing from Powder Springs to Atlanta, builders doing houses 800 to 1.1 million. That is not a starter home. Dude, that's not. I can't afford that. I don't know if you can. You want to be rich, dude. I'm just a guy on the screen talking to you. Not a rich man. You know what I'm saying? Not a rich man. I'm fortunate, but not like one. I'll never buy $1 million house. Now you say I'll never buy it. I'm gonna say, okay, I'll buy it if I ever have to buy it. If this is a deal, I'll buy it. Okay, no lie. But honestly, I prefer to keep my expenses down. Also, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't rather rent a place, rent $1 million house, than actually buy it? You got the upkeep and the maintenance of something that much. See, all these things we got to think about, because it's not what you buy. I'm telling the buyers now, this is not what you cop. Lauryn Hill said it. It's what you keep. We got to talk about it, right? It's what you keep.
You have no debt, a fully funded emergency fund, and a down payment. You are financially ready to buy a house.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't try to time the market and wait for the interest rates to move a certain way. I would go ahead and do that. We say, date the rate, marry the house.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? 84% of people.
One reason why you have to do that is there's no guarantee that rate is going to go down. If we get into a depression, which some people think that we're in already, some people believe it. Some of the economists are saying it. We're going from a recession into a depression. You're not going to see those rates drop. Okay? Take advantage of it, lock it in. Because one of the craziest things that a boomer can tell you, that anyone who grew up in the 80s can tell you, that anyone who owned a property in the 80s, I got a client that bought a property in the 90s, you know what I mean? An older guy, more mature, smart, intelligent. One of those things they'll tell you is you're not dealing with 12% rates, 11% rates, 15% rates that they dealt with back then, 80s, 90s. Dude, that's crazy. Imagine getting a 18 or 15 or 12% rate on a house. You think that a 5% rate has you, or even a 5.5 or even a 6 has you like, baby, can we do this? If it ever gets to that place, the market is toast. Okay? We're talking about less income coming into the average home, and overpriced homes. And the price doesn't even the house doesn't even have to be overpriced. It can be the same regular 300, 250,000 starter home. It won't be affordable. The rates will be too high. Way too high. Go get it now.
Say that now is a bad time to buy a house. 84%.
Is that because of prices and interest rates?
Yes.
Okay.
Interest rates were the number one reason that overtook home prices. So it's because of interest rates that that number is so high. You know, the last time it was also similarly high.
When's that?
2010.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting?
Interesting. So after the housing crisis.
Yes. a lot of people also felt now is a bad time to buy. So it's very interesting because I was having
Which
a
was one of
discussion
the
with somebody.
best times to buy,
exactly.
looking back.
So I was having a discussion with somebody the other day, and we were talking about how so many people say now is a bad time to buy. But if you typically do the opposite of what the mass seems to think is the better option, usually that kind of works. Like to me, it's hard to wrap my mind around it when I see home prices so high, mortgages so high, the cost of renting so cheap relative to that. But you know, when you look at what most people are doing, if you just do the opposite, in most cases, you're better off.
You're better
That's
off.
fascinating.
So it'll be very interesting
Way
to see
better.
what happens over these next 10 years. If interest rates come down, I guess there's a chance.
And that's the key. You can't go to do what everybody else is doing. And I know that sounds, you're like, Leon, we're not stupid. We're very intelligent. We know you can't do what everybody else is doing. But I want you to think about it even deeper. Everybody's listening to what the media is saying concerning real estate. Everybody's hearing that it's a buyer's market. Everybody's hearing go buy, like it's a buyer's market. The rates are the best they'll ever be. So you have a mass influx of people running and chasing to buy houses. But like you said at the beginning, if your money isn't right, if your investing isn't there, if you don't have money to the side, if you don't have a down payment that you can do and not be struggling once you get into the house, that's great. It took us 2 months to actually move into our house after we bought it. We had to go through paint. I had to go through paint, change floors, change doors. I mean, I bought for a deal. You know, some people don't. Sometimes, I hate to say, some of y'all women, ladies, you are out there looking for the perfect house. Dude, there is no perfect house. You're going to find houses that have a lot of stuff going on with it that, look, see, I didn't cuss. Have a lot of stuff going on with it that you may not like it cosmetically. Think about the neighborhood. Is it close to the schools? Is it close to relatives or friends that you want to be close to? Okay. Can your kids play if you have age kids play in the street without, or play outside without having issues? All these things we spoke about, quality of life. This is, if that's there and there's a reason to buy there that's already built in. Like for some people, they move into homes that are close to the school, and that school is like an 8, 9, or 10. And I'm breaking it down in the simplest form so you understand it. Okay? You got a question, ask a question, drop a comment below, I'll answer it. But this is it. Like, so now they don't have to go, they can go and build value, live in a house, pay the bills, keep the house, right? Do updates to the house. What's going to make that sell faster is the things that surround the house. So you don't just buy the house. Like I tell people, you buy the neighborhood, you buy the area around it, you buy the stores down the street, you buy the schools that are connected, that your kids feed from grade school to middle school to high school in. And if it's ranked 7, 8, 9, 10, I like 8, 9, 10. Okay. If it's ranked 8, 9, 10, ooh, baby, when you get ready to sell, I'm going to tell you something really Gucci. Even if the market is against the average seller, it won't be against you. It won't be against you because you bought right. You don't make money. You don't make money in real estate when you sell. You actually make money in real estate when you buy, if you've heard that before. People say it a lot. And it's true. It is true because you bought in the right place.
Everyone rushes into
But
the
here's
market,
the thing,
but
and you can tell me this,
Yeah.
if interest rates go down, we're probably going to see a spike in home prices.
yes and no. The variable to that is how many sellers sell. So right now we're seeing high home prices because there's
But
not a lot
nobody
of
wants to
inventory.
sell because they're
But
low
if
interest rates.
But if interest rates go down to about 5%, they're saying that's the magic number where all of a sudden, if I have a 3.5% mortgage, it doesn't hurt as much to give that up for 5%, but it does to 6%.
Interesting.
And so they're saying 5% is the magic number that would prompt more sellers to sell who are thinking about selling, who have those handcuffs. So there's a chance interest rates come down, buyers come in the market, but there's a lot of sellers who say, oh, finally, I could, afford to buy something else and not have to worry about it. I don't care about giving up my 4% mortgage for 5%. It's not that big of a deal. So maybe the market gets flooded with inventory. There's also the theory that as that flood comes in, more sellers will say, oh, the market's going down. I'm thinking about.
Now, these are theories. You hear what he's saying. Oh, it's also the theory. It's also the theory. I tell people these are theories. Like, nobody has a glass ball and they say that this is the best place to buy and the market's going to do this and do that. If anybody tells you, it's a lie. Like, it's not true. All you can do is take good principles, proven history, any historical data, and just go with that. And that's the job of your agent. Your agent should be to provide you with accurate historical data and a good strategy in order to execute the purchase or execute the sale. That's why we can only look at historical data. And occasionally we'll get a 2020, which is a black swan type of event. Nobody saw that thing coming. But I think it's weird. Like, we still have like black swan residue. I think, is that a good word? Black swan residue in the economy? Because, yeah, it's an economy right now with a lot of black swan residue, but no black swans. It's like they came up in the economy, hit it, and left. I guess I did. Okay, cool. But that's the facts. That's the facts, you know? So knowing that, you have to get acquainted with knowing how to think in this type of real estate market. But it still starts with knowing some basic things. Buyer market, seller market, like we've been talking about. But these are all theories. So I can't sit back when Trump be talking about, man, hey, I'm about to go ahead and take all the institutional buyers out of the market and they going to get penalized and then we're going to end up doing it. It's theory. And what's worse about these theories, I tell you, is the theory's good right now. We're halfway through this administration. November, December, we'll be halfway through 2 years of this administration. 2 more years of it. After that 2-year period, it's a wrap. Whatever comes after that, you never know. You might end up having a switch in administration, which they don't even see it like that. They don't even see what he's seeing. No, we don't like it. We need to be doing this. You got to be ready to pivot, but you can't pivot if you're too emotional about the administration, if you're too emotional about the season, if you're not looking and knowing the basics. Yeah, that's it. This program is more for a beginner than an advanced. I do talk advanced techniques sometimes when I do reaction videos, but honestly, a lot of what I speak about is really beginner information. And I tell people, you don't need to pay $5K for a guru to guide you. You really just got to commit to learning and doing the work, because a lot of this free information like I'm giving you is out there. Now, when we talk about techniques and what to do with this, that, and other more step-by-step plays, that's the lunchbox. You know what I'm saying? That's it. But this right here, this is enough for you to go online, do additional research, because I wish my people would do more independent research. I wish you would, so you could say no more than yes. Say no. There's nothing wrong with saying no. Forget that book that said yes to everything. Say no, okay? If it doesn't match what you've learned, and it's okay to do that.
In 5 years, but let me sell it now really quick before values go down even further. And my neighbors are selling, and let me
get spooked.
Let me beat them to it, and I'll price myself a little lower than they are. There's a chance. There's also a chance people say, I'm going to hold on to my house and,
see what happens.
And buyers have more purchasing power and values go up. Mm-hmm. It's a total coin toss. I wish like there should be a way to figure out what's going to happen in this and like run the numbers.
But I think the key is like, we're not going to see a crash, regardless of what your thumbnail said. But I know what you say in the video. It's not going to happen.
Gotta watch the
We're
video.
like, the crash is happening. And I'm like, no, it's not. Don't lie to me, Graham. So I still have faith.
The shocking thing is that like monthly payments are up like 70% since 2020. Now that is low in terms of monthly payments.
Sure.
But like when you think 70% more.
Yeah. So increases in insurance, that's the big thing, along with the taxes, but more insurance that affects that. When you have these insurance companies that are leaving Georgia, Florida, California, of course, California, Texas, some of these other cities, and they're deciding they're going to do business in specific areas, to me, that's the criminal activity right there. That's it. It's criminal to bounce out of the commitments that you've already made in that state and go do business somewhere else. And now you leave people dangling. And there's tons of people who had to rush. I was one of them. I had to rush to find homeowners insurance now. And I had to do that. This was months and months, a year or two ago. I think it was a year ago. But they're still moving out. A lot of people are still having those issues. Okay? So this real estate game, man, it's twofold. I mean, you got to realize that this insurance thing can heavily affect your profit on the inside. But like he said, 70% more in interest rates, 70% more in payments. It's not just the appreciation. It's really not, because the appreciation can be handled if the rates, appreciation meaning you're paying more because it's valued more and they're selling it more. But it could be handled if the interest rates wasn't as crazy as they are right now. I mean, not the interest rate, the insurance rates wasn't as crazy as they are right now. That's always going to stop buying and selling. It's a crazy thing to see your statement, your principal, your interest, your taxes, and then your insurance. Oh God, that insurance, doggone insurance. Oh no, doggone insurance.
Those
In
interest
3
rates, I mean,
years.
it definitely compounds
Yeah.
that payment, and it hurts people, and it makes it less affordable.
But at what price? At what point does that impact prices? I mean, a 70% increase in monthly payments from those who bought 3 years ago to today.
Yeah.
How much do home prices have to come down to balance things out, if at all?
Only time will tell.
I don't know. Probably a little bit, probably a lot of bit, probably in between, just a touch. It looks good, but it may not be good. It could be good. We're still checking it out. We're still checking it out to see how good it is. It may be.